Good afternoon, and welcome to our hearing for the draft 2024 Interregional Transportation Improvement Program for our Northern California hearing. My name is Carl Guardino. I have the honor of serving as Vice Chair of our California Transportation Commission. We're going to call this hearing together. We usually start right on time at 1 o'clock, but since this is an ITIP hearing, I thought I'd start at 1:01 like the freeway, which runs through several jurisdictions. Okay, I'm not fooling anyone with that. Let's go ahead and move forward. Thank you for attending our second hearing on the draft 2024 Interregional Transportation Improvement Program, lovingly known as the ITIP. Government Code Section 14526 requires that the California Transportation Commission hold at least 2 hearings on the draft ITIP proposed by Caltrans, one in Southern California, which we did last week, which again was held on November 1st in San Bernardino, and the other in Northern California, which is today's hearing here in Sacramento. The ITIP is a critical component of the State Transportation Improvement Program that provides funding for state highway and intercity passenger rail projects that improve the interregional movement of people, vehicles, and goods. Caltrans released the draft ITIP on October 28th of 2023. The Commission looks forward to hearing from Caltrans today about how the projects in the draft ITIP will advance the state's safety, equity, climate, and economic prosperity goals. As the residents of California have diverse needs, we know the projects proposed will look different for different parts of our very diverse state. While statutorily limited, the ITIP is a multimodal program that can offer different solutions to meet those diverse needs. Today's hearing is informational only and no action will be taken. After the ITIP hearings have concluded, Caltrans will review all comments and take them into consideration when developing the final 2024 ITIP. We will hear from our team in the next agenda item, the timeline for the adoption of the ITIP. But first, Doug Remedios will provide instructions for members of the public wishing to comment on the draft 2024 Interregional Transportation Improvement Program following the Caltrans presentation. I would like to ask our executive director, the amazing Tanisha Taylor, if she would like to make any remarks or correct anything I said wrong.
Oh, thank you, Vice Chair. No additional remarks. I just want to take a moment to welcome everybody and thank everyone who's here in the room and virtually with us for participating today. And I'll turn it over to Casey Ruggiero, who's online for us to give us the update.
Should we have Doug Remedios?
Oh, yes. Let's have Doug.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa.
Welcome to the draft 2024 ITIP Northern hearing. The CTC exists to make transportation planning, funding, and policy more understandable and accountable. Our hearings take place in diverse locations around the state so that our commissioners, staff, can hear directly from our stakeholders around California. We are pleased to adjust to a hybrid in-person webinar format to make this hearing more accessible than ever. Please bear with us should we encounter any technical challenges. The hearing agenda is available on our website, www.catc.ca.gov. The presentation for today's meeting is also available on the Commission meetings page of our website. Any document the CTC creates can be translated into any language you need. Simply email us at ctc@catc.ca.gov and we'll have them returned to you as quickly as possible. Live closed captioning translation is being provided for this hearing. Please select the Show Captions tab at the bottom of your screen. There are a number of language options available there to choose from. We welcome comments from the public as a part of this meeting. For those attending in person, please submit a speaker slip to the clerk, that's me, up here at the front of the room to let us know you want to comment on an item. For those attending via Zoom, you should see the webinar control panel, likely located on the bottom of your screen. There you'll find the Raise Hand and Q&A tabs. We encourage you to use the raise hand feature as early into the public comment item as you can to give the system time to acknowledge you. Staff will let you know when it's your turn to make a comment. Alternately, you may use the Q&A tab to submit your comment. Please be sure to include the agenda item number you are commenting on, and staff will read the comment on your behalf. As a reminder, each registered attendee is provided a unique link and phone number to access this webinar. These should not be shared with other participants, as this can create confusion for staff when calling on you to make your comments. Please do your best to be concise. Please make sure that your comments add new information. If you agree with the comments of a previous speaker, simply make that statement. Please remember to speak at a steady pace to allow our translating service adequate time for accurate translation. Since we often have many speakers, we ask that you make your point in 3 minutes or less. If, for some reason, we have many more speakers than expected, we reserve the right to limit comments to 1 minute as needed. Thank you for joining us today. We know your time is valuable, and we appreciate you sharing some of it with us. Thank you.
Doug Remedios, thank you. Appreciate that, and appreciate all of our professional California Transportation Commission staff and our partnership with Caltrans. Casey, may we turn it over to you?
Yes, thank you, Vice Chair Gardino. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Casey Ruggiero, and I'm the Program Manager of the State Transportation Improvement Program, also known as the STIP. The STIP is a 5-year program of capital improvements that fund highway, transit, local road, and active transportation type projects. Can you hear me okay in the room? Okay, great, thank you. Statute requires the STIP to be adopted biannually, each even-numbered year, no later than April 1st. The STIP is made up of 2 programs. The Regional Improvement Program, which receives 75% of STIP funds, and the Interregional Improvement Program, which receives 25% of STIP funds. This hearing is specific to the draft Interregional Transportation Improvement Program, also known as the ITIP, which is developed by Caltrans. The ITIP is made up of projects that are programmed in the STIP's Interregional Improvement Program. Statute requires that ITIP funds be distributed as follows. 60% of the interregional funds must be directed outside urbanized areas on interregional road systems with a minimum of 15% for intercity rail projects. 40% of the interregional funds must go anywhere in the state subject to the 60-40 split. Caltrans is required to develop the ITIP in consultation with transportation planning agencies, county transportation commissions, and transportation authorities. Caltrans is also required to submit the draft ITIP to the California Transportation Commission by October 15th of each odd-numbered year. By November 15th of each odd-numbered year, the Commission is required to hold at least 2 public hearings, one in the north and one in the south. The draft ITIP is available to the public and be found on Caltrans's and the Commission's website. Today is the second of 2 required ITIP hearings. The south was held last week on Wednesday, November 1st in San Bernardino. The agenda for each ITIP hearing is available on the Commission's website. Following the North and South hearings, Caltrans staff will prepare the final ITIP. The final ITIP shall include a summary of the major comments received at the hearings and responses to those comments. Staff encourages Caltrans to consider the input received at both hearings as the ITIP is finalized. Caltrans's final ITIP and the region's Regional Transportation Improvement Programs, also known as RTIPs, are due to the Commission by December 15th, 2023. As RTIPs and the ITIP are received, staff will compile all the proposals into one document that will be presented at the North and South STIP hearings on Thursday, January 25th and Thursday, February 1st, 2024. Staff will publish its recommendations for the 2024 STIP on Friday, March 1st, 2024. The Commission will adopt the STIP at the March Commission meeting just a few days before the required adoption date of April 1st. The 2024 STIP guidelines were adopted by the Commission at the August 2023 Commission meeting. The guidelines set the policy standards, criteria, and procedures for the development, adoption, and management of the 2024 STIP. Also in August, the Commission adopted the 2024 STIP fund estimate, identifying $1.6 billion of new capacity for the 2024 STIP period, including $435 million in public transportation account funds, which is the primary source for rail and transit projects. The 2024 STIP fund estimate indicates a limited amount of capacity in the first 3 years of the STIP due to existing programming commitments. Priority will be given to projects experiencing cost increases, new phases that are being added to existing projects, and projects that have SB1 commitments. The formula distribution for the interregional program was approximately $421 million. However, due to previous advances of $118 million and a lapsed project of $9 million, the amount available for new programming is $312 million. The STIP guidelines identify the interregional program that works towards achieving the following objectives. To provide access for people and goods to and through all regions of California, ensure that the interregional transportation system is reliable and efficient for the movement of people, goods, services, and emergency response, develop and operate a safe interregional transportation system for all travelers by improving public safety and security, optimize multimodal connectivity throughout the interregional transportation system for all people, improve interregional connectivity to enhance California's diverse economy, and finally, improve and manage California's interregional transportation system in an environmentally sensitive, economical, and equitable manner that fosters livable and healthy communities and promotes social equity. All new projects proposed for funding in the interregional program must meet the following objectives as specified above, in addition to them being consistent with the Interregional Transportation Strategic Plan, also known as the ITSP, have a project initiation document, also known as a PID, or an equivalent to the PID, and have a complete funding commitment. This means each proposed phase must be fully funded at the time of adoption. And that concludes my comments. Thank you.
Casey, thank you, not only for the great work you're doing on this important product, but your partnership with Caltrans and other stakeholders to make sure that we're all successful together. If there are no questions on Casey's presentation, great, thank you. Then we're going to move to James Anderson with Caltrans for the presentation of the draft Interregional Transportation Improvement Program.
Good afternoon, Vice Chair Gardino, Commission staff, and all others in attendance. My name is James Anderson, and I'm pleased to present the 2024 Interregional Transportation Improvement Program to you. It is a draft, and that's also referred to as the ITIP. Can we bring the presentation up, please?
It's
Okay, it is? Okay, next slide, sorry. Consistency with the Interregional Transportation Strategic Plan, also known as the ITSP or referred to as the ITSP. One of the goals of the 2024 ITIP is to assure consistency and alignment across state plans, policies, including the goals in the California 2050 Transportation Plan, the CAPTI's Vision and Guiding Principles, and the Interregional Transportation Strategic Plan. The objectives in the ITSP are focused on interregional travel. The ITSP provides the framework to guide the investment of ITIP funds, including strategic improvements for the entire interregional system network. The 2021 ITSP includes a greater emphasis on climate, equity, and accessibility than the previous 2015 version of the ITSP. With this draft ITIP, projects that are consistent with CAPTI and the 2021 ITSP were added. Next slide, please. Factors used to prioritize the 2024 ITIP projects. With limited funding available, projects were prioritized based on cost updates or refinements for currently programmed projects, currently programmed projects that need additional funding to complete the remaining phases, project cost or the ITIP request amount based on the limited ITIP funding capacity, the evaluation criteria for the ITIP projects, and prioritizing new projects that are consistent with the ITSP and the CAPTI framework. Next slide, please. So the fund estimate provided about $312 million in new capacity. As a side note, the 2024 fund estimate took into account all the available EJA and the federal FHA formula funds. Next slide, please. The available capacity in this ITIP was used to fund carryover projects, which includes projects that have cost updates or refinements, and new projects. I will discuss more about the carryover projects and new projects in the upcoming slides. Next slide, please. So this slide is very important and provides a statewide perspective of the overall interregional highway, existing and newly proposed projects, and their location in one of the 10 high priority corridors. The question was previously asked, how do active transportation projects contribute to interregional travel? Active transportation projects offer benefits that extend beyond a specific region or community. These projects improve user safety and connectivity to key interregional routes, which helps keep local disadvantaged communities safe from the impacts of interregional travel on the corridor. They provide environmental benefits that contribute to regional and even global efforts to combat climate change and improve air quality. Lastly, they align with sustainability goals and create long-term benefits for regions by reducing car dependence and promoting alternative transportation options. The 3 active transportation projects proposed for programming in the 2024 ITIP will encourage walking, bicycling, and transit on streets that support disadvantaged communities. These projects will better separate vehicles from traveling interregionally from local active transportation trips and provide safety benefits for all users on the state highway system. Next slide, please. This slide is also very important and provides a statewide perspective of the overall intercity passenger rail program for existing and newly proposed projects and their location in one of the 9 intercity passenger rail corridors. The question was previously asked how this ITIP addresses growing freight demand. It's important to note that rail investments identified in the ITIP would provide greater passenger and goods movement efficiencies by reducing congestion, travel delays, and vehicle idling. Caltrans developed a statewide ridership modeling tool for the 2022 State Rail Plan. This tool is being used by the California High-Speed Rail Authority. However, Caltrans did not use this tool to estimate the ridership at this time. Caltrans relied on the ridership models that were on the estimates provided by the ridership models from project sponsors. The model is available for future use for proposed projects moving forward. These rail projects will provide the necessary capacity and reliability for a mode shift of passenger vehicles and goods to rail. This mode shift is expected to improve travel trip reliability, air quality on the highway corridor. Please note that all corridors have projects and some corridors may have more than one project. I'm sorry, not all corridors have a project, as some projects may have more than one corridor. That's what I meant to say. Next slide, please. So as this table shows, 2022 carryover projects in the 2024 ITIP. As the table shows, there are 21 carryover projects, and these projects, they do not count against the cycle's available programming capacity, as that capacity is carried over from previous cycles. That's good news. Next slide, please. So as this table shows, there were 5 existing ITIP projects that received new funding for this ITIP cycle. 3 projects had construction cost increases or updates. There was the construction phase for one project was funded. Funding was provided for one project to fund the right-of-way capital, right-of-way construction, and support phase. Funding for the cost changes to carryover projects total about $135 million. Next slide, please. New projects proposed for the 2024 ITIP. So as this table shows, there are 10 projects proposed for this ITIP cycle. We have 4 passenger rail projects, 3 active transportation projects, 2 highway projects, and 1 infrastructure project for charging zero-emission vehicles. These projects, which reflect the priorities described in the 2021 ITSP, will help us implement CAPTI and work towards our climate, health, and equity goals by increasing safe transportation options for the traveling public. With the programming of these 10 projects, over 95% of the available ITIP programming capacity will be for rail, transit, or active transportation infrastructure. If anyone is interested how the new projects were scored using the ITIP evaluation criteria, the total scores for the new projects will be posted on the same website as the draft 2024 ITIP. Next slide, please. And next slide. So thank you for allowing me to present the 2024 draft ITIP to you this afternoon. The public comment period is open till November the 28th. Again, the public comment period is open until November the 28th. Please submit your written comments by email to the Office of Capital Improvement Programs. So we use the acronym OCIP at dot.ca.gov. So again, please submit written comments to OCIP at dot.ca.gov. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you.
And I want to thank you, James Anderson and Casey Ruggiero as well. Great job, very clear. The maps and the data on the screen always help illuminate it for those of us who are visual as well as oral learners. And now I'm delighted that we have people in the room, and I imagine joining remotely as well. If it's okay, we'll start with the cards in the room, and then we'll go remotely. As a reminder, up to 3 minutes. I believe we have a shot clock that we can show to help people who are calling in. Is that accurate? Good, very well done. That always helps me when I'm calling in to be able to see that as well. And if we have so many people flooding the lines, then again, we do reserve the right to trim that back as needed. We hope to not do that. We're going to start today, so we're going to start the bar high with Yvonne Garcia, Butte County Association of Governments. Yvonne, when your lips start moving, that clock starts ticking.
Thank you. Again, Ivan Garcia with the Butte County Association of Governments. We are the MPO and RTPA and transit operator up in Butte County. BCAG, we recommended $2.5 million in interregional improvement funds with $2.5 million of our own regional improvement program funds for the North Valley Rail Project for the 24 ITIP. BCAG has partnered with that gentleman sitting right there to my left with the San Joaquin Rail Commission and the San Joaquin Joint Powers Authority to bring the Altamont Corridor Express, the A system, and the San Joaquin trains north of Stockton via Midtown Sacramento and Natomas to Plumas Lake and the city of Marysville in Yuba County, and then onto the city of Gridley and Chico up in Butte County. I know it's not on the current list of projects. I understand financial constraints. I get it. Our fund estimate was $8.4 million, and we were proposing to put $2.5 million towards the environmental component for that project. We're completing the planning studies. We completed the project study reports. We are ready to initiate project development with the environmental component. And I really think it's important to have the state as a partner as we pursue other federal funds in that arena. I think we check all the boxes, but again, I understand financial constraints. I mentioned this project up in our town hall as part of the North State Super Region. It's our next big endeavor, and we hope the state's a partner. Thank you.
Yvonne, thank you. And as you know, these are information hearings, so we really are not supposed to comment or talk. I would only say, knowing you're in touch with Caltrans and CTC staff offline. So please continue those conversations, and thank you for joining us to testify today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker from the Stanislaus Coalition of Governments, Jose Luis Caceres. Jose?
Yes, thank you. It's an honor to be here before the CTC and Caltrans for this public hearing. As your previous speaker, Stanislaus Council of Governments also supports the work being done by the gentleman to our left. San Joaquin Regional Rail Commission has a bunch of fabulous projects. We're particularly proud of the San Joaquin Corridor second platforms in Modesto and Turlock. This is going to bring much needed transportation service to our region and interregionally connecting all of California. We also understand that the ITIP is impacted financially, and there's just only so much that can go on there. But we know that Caltrans is listening, that CTC is listening, so we definitely wanted to make our voice heard that in a future ITIP, we would love to see consideration for our most, potentially call our most important project in our region, which is State Route 132 West, SR 132 West. I could speak a little bit about it, but I am paying attention to the clock. One of the things that most bothers me about the current conditions of where State Route 132 intersects Highway 99 is that these trucks and motorists have to get off the highway to get onto the highway. And I didn't think we still had highway interchanges that didn't function as interchanges anymore. But it is odd, and it's also a safety hazard to have these trucks get off the highway to go get onto the other highway, driving through our neighborhoods, producing particulate matter at the neighborhood level, carbon monoxide at the neighborhood level, when our whole region is pretty much a disadvantaged community. We feel like this is a part of the highway system that has been forgotten and left to the end. And we still believe that this is consistent with CAPTI, certainly the safety benefits and the goods movement benefits of CAPTI. And we hope to be considered in the next ITIP. Thank you.
Jose Luis, thank you. And it's kind of fun because those dialing in, both of you referred to the person to your left, and there are two people to your left. So we are going to call on the person to your far left, Dan Levitt, San Joaquin Regional Rail Commission and San Joaquin Joint Powers Authority. Welcome, Dan.
Great, thank you, Vice Chair Gardino, members of the commission, Executive Director Taylor, it's great to see you. I am Dan Levitt. I'm Manager of Regional Initiatives for the San Joaquin Joint Powers Authority and the San Joaquin Regional Rail Commission. The San Joaquin Joint Powers Authority is the managing agency of the San Joaquin's intercity passenger rail service. The San Joaquin Regional Rail Commission is the owner-operator of the ACE commuter rail service. We greatly appreciate this opportunity to speak to you in strong support of the draft 2024 ITIP. We greatly appreciate the proposed funding of rail projects which support the expansion of both our services in the Central Valley. This includes the new projects funding for Sacramento City College and for the Madera High-Speed Rail Station. The Madera High-Speed Rail Station is necessary to provide continued intercity passenger rail service to Madera County and to integrate the San Joaquin's and high-speed rail early operating segment between Merced and Bakersfield. We'd also like to convey our strong support for the SR 99 ITIP funding for the San Joaquin Valley in the draft ITIP. These SR 99 improvements are critical for providing safe access to both the San Joaquin's and to future high-speed rail stations. Thank you very much for your time.
Dan, thank you, Dan, for joining us today. Is there anyone else presently in the room that would like to speak? Okay, we are going to then switch to joining us remotely. Do we have people on the line?
Yes, thank you, Vice Chair Gardino. We do have some of our virtual attendees looking to comment at this time.
Great.
I would like to first call on Rob Poitras.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much, Mr. Vice Chair and Commissioners and Director Taylor. I'd like to thank the CTC for conducting their October meeting in Madera and the opportunity to comment today on the draft ITIP. I'd also like to thank Caltrans for including the vital ITIP funding for Highway 99 projects in Madera and Tulare counties. And obviously, we advocate for each other due to our partnership that we have, not only with our state partners, but also our local partners. The draft ITIP contains funding for 3 bottleneck segments of Highway 99 that will increase safety and improve operational efficiency on a major goods movement corridor in Madera and Tulare counties. Additionally, funding has been identified for the Madera high-speed rail station that we just heard about, project that will result in future transit-oriented development along the Avenue 12 corridor. Together with improved transit connectivity, the development will ensure that Madera County can capture the full economic and environmental benefits of the high-speed rail and sustainable growth patterns. Thank you very much and have a great rest of the day.
Rob, thank you. So far, all 4 of you have not come anywhere close to your whole time. Thanks for being good stewards of everyone's time. Our next presenter.
Yes, thank you. Up next, we have Mike Labar.
Mike?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Commissioners, for this opportunity to speak. I am the Mayor of King City, California, and in 2022, ITIP put our project, the King City Platform and Multimodal Phase 1, into project designation, allocating $7.5 million. This is an important project for our region and the Central Coast Corridor. Our community and area surrounding it has been traditionally disadvantaged. Very few funds come to us in our area for new transportation opportunities. This is a project that meets multiple local, regional, state, and federal goals and priorities. And unique to this project, our project meets national security and Pentagon troop readiness and resiliency goals. Right now, Fort Hunter Liggett, which is a premier training base for our nation, over 50,000 troops come every year for training. Right now, they come by their personal vehicles, and the Fort Hunter Liggett would like them to come by rail. This is very, very important to them. Additionally, this station is something that will help create new TOD housing opportunities. We already have one in place, which is an ag employee housing project that is Phase 1 is already completed. Our community is working with our partners at the local, regional, and state levels, have been working diligently to get all funding sources in place. We have experienced, like many other agencies, huge cost overruns. We will be submitting a TIRSIP allocation this next cycle. Right now, we have commitments from Amtrak for $5 million. We're looking at SRA at 6.3. Our transportation agency will look at allocating some of the AB 125 money for this project as well. Unfortunately, this project did not carry over into this 2024 ITIP draft. I cannot stress enough how important this is to our region. And I ask the commission, please keep the King City Multimodal Station Phase 1 as a carryover project from the 2022 ITIP and maintain the funding for our project in the 2024 ITIP. I would love to sit down with staff, talk about what we're doing and the importance of this project. And I'm also available at any point in time to answer any questions. Thank you for this ability to plead my case.
Mayor Labar, thank you for calling in from King City. I've often visited your community, and it is, as you said, a vital area with Fort Hunter Liggett right there as well. We appreciate your comments. Do we have other speakers on the line?
Yes, we have a few more virtual attendees remaining with their hands raised to comment on this. Up
Thank you.
next, I would like to call upon Kenneth Cow.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Kenneth Cow with the Metropolitan Transportation Commission. I'm sorry I can't be there in person to see your faces and also my colleagues from around the north part of the state. I wanted to comment and support the two new projects in the MTC region being proposed by Caltrans. These are both the Bay Skyway Phase 1, both on the West Oakland side as well as on the Yerba Buena Island side in San Francisco. Both of these projects support completing the active transportation links between San Francisco and Oakland. And I would like to note that this corridor is the busiest in the Bay Area. It would also connect with our existing substantial Bay Trail system, as well as connecting with the interregional transit links, including ferry and rail, and eventually high-speed rail. These two projects both fit within the goals of the 2021 Interregional Transportation Strategic Plan, as well as CAPTI. And these ITIP funds will leverage local and federal funds already on the corridor. I'd like to thank Caltrans for working with us and including these projects in the draft ITIP. And I also wanted to mention that Gavin Lowry on our team, our project manager, is also available in case there are any questions on these two projects. And with that, I turn it back to you, Vice Chair Guardino.
Kenneth, thank you. Our next speaker?
Yes, up next we have Christina Watson.
Yes, hello, this is Christina Watson. I'm the Director of Planning with the Transportation Agency for Monterey County, and I am just here to speak in support of what Mayor LaBarre from King City said. We will help him to find the sources to fully fund his station project. And I have no further comments. Thank you.
Christina, great to hear from TAMC as always. Appreciate you dialing in.
Up next, we have Lisa Davy-Bates.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Lisa Davy-Bates, and I am the Executive Director for the Lake Area Planning Councils. And this morning, members of the APC met, and during that meeting, they were advised that right-of-way for segment 2B of the Canocti corridor was in the draft ITP, or ITIP, I'm sorry. And the board was overjoyed to hear that news, and I'd like to relay their gratitude today. And the APC also wanted me to mention that they have appreciated the long-term support and dedication of this project by both Caltrans and the California Transportation Commission. And so just to give a few more words, this project, when completed, will improve an 8-mile section of Lake 29 in Lake County. And there will be a secondary benefit to the North Shore communities along with Highway 20, as that interregional traffic will in time travel south on the principal arterial corridor. As you know, the first segment or 2C of that segment 2C of that project was completed this summer and widened a 3-mile segment of State Route 29. And funding for right-of-way on segment 2B is the critical path forward in accessing other funding for construction for this project in the future. So again, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to speak this afternoon and relay the Lake Area Planning Council support for the commission to support right-of-way on segment 2B of the Canocti Corridor project. Thank you.
Lisa, did you say 2B or not 2B?
Thank you. Good one.
Lisa, I'm going to be up in the Lake County area soon, and if you drop me an email, I'd like to connect while I'm there.
Oh, that'd be great. Thank you.
Thank you. And if you don't have my contact information, I'm sure our professional staff can provide that for you.
Great. We'd love to take you on a tour.
Sounds great, as long as you bring me back.
I will do that.
Good stuff, good stuff. Our next presenter.
I do not see any other requests for comment at this time.
Okay, we're going to keep it open for a minute, if that's okay with everyone. Is that all right? You can even set the shot clock if you want. I want to make sure that after all the amazing work that has been done by Caltrans, by the California Transportation Commission and our stakeholders, that we give every opportunity for our fellow citizens and residents to have a chance to comment. You know, we could play that Jeopardy theme music. Yeah, yeah, great minds think alike, huh? Yeah, there we go. For the record, I only got through one Diet Coke and I bought two. Just saying.
Put that in our minutes.
Would you, Mom? Thank you. Thank you. All right. I want to take this moment while we're waiting too, just to thank our professional staff again. The work that you do, we find amazing. And I know I speak for all of my commissioner colleagues when I say that. We're very fortunate as a state to have your service. That is the time. Did we have anyone else call in? Great. Terrific. If it's okay, then I'd like to turn it over to Casey if she has any final comments before we adjourn. Casey?
Thank you, Vice Chair Gardino. I do have one final note that I want to emphasize to Caltrans, and that is just a reminder that in order for a project to be eligible for ITIP funding, it must meet a couple of criteria, and that includes the phase that's being proposed must be fully funded. The project that's being proposed must provide an interregional benefit. The project needs to have independent utilities, and a PSR or a PSR equivalent signed by a registered engineer should be included as well. And then finally, just that our expectation is, as Caltrans prepares their final ITIP, that all of the projects that are being submitted for funding meet these requirements. And that concludes my comment. Thank you.
Casey, thank you for adding that important information before we adjourn our hearing. With that, unless our executive director has any comments, Ms. Taylor? No? Okay. With that, then, this second hearing, our Northern California hearing of the California Transportation Commission for the draft 2024 Interregional Transportation Improvement Program is adjourned. Thank you all for participating. I really need a gavel.